Okay, good afternoon. My name is Paul Quarter with Perfect Golf Event. Today we're going to go over a product called Perfect Silent Auction, and we're going to cover a number of topics on this. As a housekeeping note, you don't have to copy anything down. I'll get you a copy of the presentation afterwards, so you can just sit back and listen to what we have to say, and hopefully you find it useful in preparing for your event. So things we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the objectives and benefits of an online auction, how to set your financial goals. We'll talk about sourcing auction items, creating what I call donorship packages, the right technology, how to promote your online auction and your event day auction, and then how to conduct your event the day of the event. If you're going to have, because a lot of people will have an online auction, and then they'll also have some items that they'll do for a silent auction the day of the event. So hopefully that's what you've signed up for. We're going to cover is, again, for some of you who are just arriving, we'll be glad to send you a copy of the presentation afterwards, so you don't have to copy everything down. So again, thanks for attending. So what are the objectives and benefits of having an online auction? Well, first of all, we're all in the fundraising business, so you want to raise more money. So that's one reason is to have an auction, is to supplement the money you're going to raise at your golf event, or if you're doing it separately outside of a golf event, to raise money with an online auction. It gives you a chance to engage with your supporters in a different way. You may be contacting them a lot for other reasons. Now you're engaging with them in sort of a fun atmosphere of having an online auction. It's nice, especially if you tie it to your golf event website, that you can increase sponsorship exposure, because when you have a golf event website with us, you can put up your sponsor logos, but usually people go to the site once or twice, once to register, maybe go back and look at the details. But if you link the auction off your website, you can say to sponsors, look, I've got an online auction. People are coming back here a lot to see what the latest auction items are, and your sponsor logo is going to be visible. So I use that to help me sell additional sponsorships. And it allows you to generate revenue before your event date, because you don't have to wait to the date of your event to close the auction. I'm doing a couple of auctions now for some fundraising golf events where we're putting up a new item every week. Then by Friday, the item closes. People who won the item pay for it. Then we put some more items up. And that's really a fun way to raise money and keep people engaged, as opposed to saying, hey, the auction's going to happen in September and we'll close it in September. So I like to do an interactive auction. Now, if you've been in any of my other webinars, you know I always cover going over your financial goals. So as you're getting ready to do an online auction, you want to incorporate it into your overall planning for your golf event. So what I do for all my golf events, and I'll be glad to get you a copy of the spreadsheet, is I take them and I plug in all my revenue for my event. I plug in my past revenue, and then I put in my 2022 projections. And then I add a line for my online auction. So I say, okay, I'm going to make some estimates of what we're going to make off of my online auction. So that's a new line that I've added on this spreadsheet for tracking. Then I put in all my expenses. And when I'm done with my expenses, I'm going to look and I'm going to have a net number that's going to say, hey, if I take my revenue minus my expenses, here's what I'm going to raise. And again, if you're not reaching your number, then what you're going to need to do is go back and either find ways to increase your revenue, or you're going to look at ways to reduce your expenses. And an auction is a good way to make additional revenue. And I also have a revenue calculator you can use to help you kind of do your estimates. And we'll be talking about sourcing items in just a minute. But this lets you on one spreadsheet kind of capture what items you've had donated to your auction, what items you're doing as consignment items, which I'll explain in a bit, and it kind of gives some financial projections on what you think you're going to make from your online auction. And then you add that into the spreadsheet so you have a good number on what your net revenue projections are going to be. So you can track that. So again, we talked about if you're not making your expectations, you got to find new revenue ways, and online auctions, I think, are a great way to do it. I just closed out an auction for a first-year event, and we netted $17,000 with the online auction. And it's the first time they had done it, but they got some good items donated, added some consignment items, and really had a good result and good feedback from everyone. Now, people always ask me how to source the products for my auctions. Very good question. So let's talk that through. So really, what you're trying to find is ways to get things donated. That's the first step. I'll talk about consignment in just a minute. But let's talk about sourcing items. So the top sources are, you look to people who are on your committee, your supporters, your volunteers. Everybody has access. Maybe they're going to donate something they've got that was a gift that they want to re-gift. It could be something they've signed memorabilia from someone. Maybe it's a bottle of wine or a rare bourbon. Maybe it's a chance to go play their golf course. So you're going to look for sponsors and players to do the same thing. Local merchants, you're going to ask them to get involved, and I'll show you how to solicit those in a second. You're going to ask the golf course who's hosting your event to give you some foursomes for your auction. Local sports and entertainment organizations may give you certificates for free tickets or buy one, get one free tickets. Anything you can add to the auction that gives you a chance to raise money. Local corporations have a budget for nonprofits and will make donations of goods. If you have a celebrity in your area, maybe the celebrity will sign some memorabilia that you can put up in the auction as well. Now, what you're going to want to do is then take all your donated items, and I'll show you in a second how to do it. You're going to add all those items into your online auction so people can then bid on all the things you've gotten donated for your auction. And this is, I'll be glad to send a copy of this to you as well. This is what I use for my events. I have a sample solicitation letter. Kind of have a two-stage working with sponsors. I have one letter that I send out that says, okay, here's what I'm looking for in terms of sponsorships for my event. But then I send a second letter and say, hey, I know you're considering a sponsorship, but at the same time, would you consider doing something for our online auction? Or if you can't be a sponsor this year, would you consider something for the auction? So you want to have a solicitation letter, and you can take parts of this letter and put it into email blasts and things like that. So it gives you a good starting point to have ways to go out and try and source items from local businesses. Now, this is the concept I came up with. I call it donorship. We usually talk about sponsorship packages. So I call this donorship packages. I came up with it. Now, somebody else may already be using it, but in a stroke of genius, I said, let's call them donorship packages. And so what I do for my events, and I manage 12 events personally, is I've created I try and give people a reason to donate other than just saying, hey, we're having a fundraiser. Could you donate something for my auction? That doesn't have a lot of magic to it. So I try and set it up so I can say, hey, and the reason you want to make the package these things aggressively and interesting is you're competing. There's lots of nonprofits out there asking businesses all the time. If you talk to a business, whether it's a restaurant or an auto dealer or whatever, people are coming to them all the time saying, what can you donate to my fundraising event? You want to make sure you've got a clear message on your raising the funds so your volunteers going out there can say, hey, we're raising funds for this cause, and that's why your donation is very important to helping us with this cause. So make sure you've defined your message. And then train the people who are going to go out and solicit donations. Go out and say, hey, explain how are the funds going to be used? Where's the event? Who's attending? And how it can help them generate new clients. That's a very important selling point. I don't just want your handout. If you give me something like a free appetizer for your restaurant or a free bottle of wine or a free tooth cleaning, a dental cleaning, or a free tire rotation, these are all people that you can use to convert into regular customers. So I want you to think of the donation as a way to get people into your business. And we miss that opportunity to present that to people. And so I build what I call donorship packages. And what I do is I said, look, I want you to donate. I want to give them an incentive to donate items to the auction rather than just asking. So I said, look, here it is, based on the value of your donation. Give me a $100 donation. It could be a restaurant certificate, whatever it is, and you're going to have your logo, your business name on the event donor banner we're going to have at the event. Give me something that's worth $250, and I'm going to put your name on the banner, and you can put something in a promotional offer in player goodie bags. $500, you also get full color signage at the event recognizing your donation, because 500 is a good level. $1,000, they get an invitation to the event reception. Come on out, have some cocktails with us, come to the awards reception, we'll introduce you, be great. And if you give something that I call priceless, and priceless could be a condo in Vail, it could be a wine tasting, a gourmet wine tasting at their house, it could be a condo at Lake of the Ozarks or at Myrtle Beach, whatever it is, something that's really hot. So I say, look, you get all the benefits above. Plus, we're going to introduce you at the event. You're going to get to present the item to the winning bidder during the event. We're going to give you a customized thank you gift to display at your home or business that you donated. And so the other thing to think about with this is that donors can become sponsors. And that's a really good point to make. I like to bring donors in if they're not going to be a sponsor of the event. And then I say, hey, you give a donation, you got some business from it. Why don't you next year, why don't you move up to a full sponsorship and get even more benefits? So I kind of think of this as a bullpen for bringing new people into my event. Now, you want to have the right technology. So I'm going to talk about our technology. There's other options out there. They're all priced a little differently, but I'll give you what we do and talk about it. So we've developed Perfect Silent Auction. It gives you the ability to upload your items. You can then select items from what I call our no risk collection, which are consignment items. People can place the bids online, and you can track the progress in real time with each item. You'll be able to see, hey, this item, somebody's bid on it. Here's what's been bid. Here's what it is. What's nice about it, you can set the bid amount and the increments. You can say it starts at $100, and every bid has to be $5 more, whatever you want to set it for. You can upload photos and descriptions. You can create custom categories. You can recognize the donors and upload the donor logos so they can be displayed as the person who donated the item, which the businesses love. You can have a featured item section. Now, this is very nice. Bidders are notified when they're outbid, so it keeps raising the bidding. Perfectly nice here. Winners can pay online. You don't want to chase people down, so when they win, they get an email that says, congratulations, you've won this item. Click here to pay for the item, and then we'll get it delivered to you. It has real-time reporting, emails receipts automatically to the winning bidders, including a tax receipt that goes out to the donors. That's a very nice feature. So when someone donates for $250, the system will generate a receipt to the donor, say, thank you for the donation of $250 in value to our auction. Here's your tax receipt. Saves you a lot of time. In June 1, we introduced our whole SMS text package, which is going to allow you to go out and text all the bidders individually. You can text to a list, and bidders can get notified via text when they've done it. Right now, they'll get an email, but in June 1, they'll get a text when they've been outbid so they can go back to the site. Really high-grade technology, which we love. The system is mobile friendly, so people can bid right off their phones. They can bid off their iPads, so they can be viewed on all mobile devices. They can bids can be placed, and they can pay for it online. Should have mentioned that as well. And so it's easy to build the auction. You can just go here and you can set up your auction, add your item so people can see it, people can bid on it, and I'll walk you through that setup in just a second. So people can click on it, they can see the featured items you have, or they can say, I just want to see everything in the auction, and they can go through and see every item, and then they can go in, see what the current bid is, and go ahead and bid and participate. And you get to manage the auction easily from your dashboard. So you'll have a dashboard. If you use Perfect Golf Event, you're familiar with the dashboard. So you can set up a dashboard, and you can create the auction start and end date. So you can have it be a whole auction that starts on July 5th and then ends on September 2022. But you can also set up the start and end date for specific items. So you can put an item up today and say that item's going to end next Monday. The auction still stays open, but you always have items ending, so revenue's coming in. You can add content. You can create categories. You can set up a source so you know where the things are coming from, and you can real-time track revenue and expenses. And customize your invoices to paid receipts, so it comes out just like I guess coming right from your event. Here's your paid receipt for what you've won. You said it's easy. You can go and set up custom categories like golf equipment, rock legends, movie posters. It could be restaurants, whatever you want to call it. You create your own categories. And then this is how easy it is to add somebody. Just put in the item name, select the category, who's the supplier, or if it's just donated, you can just select donated. You put a cost in. If it was donated, you can put 0. You put a minimum bid, the increments, which means the starting bid's 100. The increments or bids have to be at least $5 each, so people can't bet a penny more. If you have any shipping costs, when you want the item to start, be available, when you want the item to end. And you can make it a featured item, and you could then enter the dimensions if you need to, and then you could add your description right here, and that's where you could also recognize, hey, this was donated by so-and-so. So it's really easy to set up your items. And then on the next page, you can then add items, photos, and you can do multiple photos for any particular item. So your image will be up there, and you can say, okay, somebody clicks on it, they'll get to see the image from multiple angles if you'd like. So you can literally add items in a few minutes to have a whole auction populated with donated items, and I'll talk about consignment in just a second. Again, it has real-time reporting, so you get a summary of all bid activity, winning bid reports, and the reports include all the contact information, so you can add anybody who's bid, whether they won or not. You'll have the information, so you can upload that into your database, so you can invite them to participate in future auctions, future golf events, future fundraising events. So it's another way to build your database. So you'll have access to all, you'll have access to all the bidder contact information. So you can add, as I said, donated items can be added to your event, or you can pick items from our no-risk collection, which I like because, you might have 15 or 20 items, but you want to have a little more in the auction. So you can go to our catalog and you can pick items that you want to add, and then those items can go into the auction, and you only pay for them after somebody's had the winning bid. So you might pay us maybe $170 to have a nicely framed portrait of Ben Hogan with Arnold Palmer, and that one's usually been going for about $350, and then you make the difference. You only pay if the bid is won. So we have entertainment packages with the most popular stuff that's out there now. We've got sports memorabilia and framed things. There's the John Wayne. I don't know what he's doing in sports, but there he is. And we add new things all the time. Like when Phil Mickelson won the PGA last year, we quickly put together some framed things for his PGA championship. So you have these things and you can add them. If you have a website with Perfect Golf Event, you can link the auction right off your website. So here's an event, and then their auction is right there. So people coming to the website to register for the golf event, at the same time, they can then say, hey, there's an auction going on too. Let me click in and see what's available there. Now, a lot of people will ask me how to promote your auction. Well, that's a very good point. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're using a marketing calendar. Because I make sure that, and I'll be glad to send you a copy of the marketing calendar. But make sure you're aggressively going out and promoting your auction, and everything should be on a marketing calendar, so hey, we just added a new item. Let's tell everybody about it. We've added 5 new items. Let's get it out there. And if you want a copy of this, just send a note to support at Perfect Golf Event, and they can get it for you. You want to use social media. So you're going to have a social media campaign, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, promoting it. Ask everybody in your groups to say, hey, there's 5 new items been put up on the auction site. Here's a link to the auction. Go look at the new items. So get everybody out there promoting your auction the whole time, just like you promote your golf event. You want to give them some sample email text. So if you just put up a nice autograph thing or a restaurant certificate, say to them, please post this. Hey, we just got a dinner for 4 donation for a great restaurant here in St. Louis, Missouri. Bidding is open now. The bidding is going to close on May 26th. Get in there and get your bids. This is a great restaurant. You'll be treated with a VIP. So give them some text to use, so you don't just say, hey, would you promote this item? You go out and say, here's how to promote the item. So use social media so to promote all the new items as they've been added to your auction. Now, a lot of people ask me about event day, live, or silent auction. So what I do for my events is I have an online auction. I close a lot of items, but I'll have some items that are going to close the day of the event, and I use Perfect Silent Auction for that as well. So what you can do is you can add, let's say you've got 20 items at the auction that are still available for bidding online. I put a QR code there. I just put a QR code. They're easy. You can create a QR code in a couple seconds on the internet, and that links directly. And when I send you this presentation, if you take a photo of that QR code, it'll take you right to Perfect Silent Auction. But you can do a QR code for each item. So bidders walking around can see the items. Like I just did a big auction at a Top Golf event we had. We had 25 items, but I didn't want any of the old-fashioned paper bid forms. So we had QR codes. People saw this auction, so there was a nice, there was a signed print of two of the St. Louis Cardinals, and they could just take a picture of the QR code. It took them to the item. They could bid on it right there, and we had the auction end while the event was going on, so the person could then pay for the item online, take the item home with them. We never had to have paper bid forms. We never had to have long checkout lines. It was so slick. So this is a nice feature you can use to make it easy to promote your event, promote your items, and have people pay there the day of the event. So you might have some items that you have sold before the event and then save some for the day of the event. Now, and what's nice is that they can also, when you do that, they can be anonymous, meaning when you have those paper bid forms, you know, Bill Johnson puts down he's bidding 175. The next person puts their name down. Well, that's not anonymous. People want to be anonymous if they're paying money. So when you're doing it online, nobody knows who's bidding. And then if you're going to have a live auction, sometimes I have a live auction where somebody says, hey, you want to bid on these items? I usually keep it to 5 items. You can feature those items in your online auction. Just say, hey, here you are. You can do some bidding on this, but we're going to close the live auction out the day of the event. So it's usually a high value item. Could be a condo, a ski resort, a wine tasting or dinner. Those are things that get really good return. It could be great seats, VIP seats at a sporting event or concert. Could be golf at exclusive clubs. So those are things that go nicely in a live auction where you're saying to people, hey, listen up, everybody. We're going to have bid now. We've got 5 items to bid for. You know, who wants a luxury box at the Dallas Cowboys game? You'll have all the food and drink you can have, includes parking pass. And that's what I'm talking about, doing a live auction. But if you're going to do a live auction, just make sure that you've got somebody who's got some personality. That's the biggest mistake people make. They can't get people excited. So get people excited if you're going to have a live auction that complements your your online auction. So again, if you're going to have an auction, make sure you've set it up on the day of the event. Set up an easy checkout process. Like I said, I don't like the print forms anymore. If you're going to do it, at least make sure you've got a smooth checkout process so there's no lines. Again, if you want, we'll send you the catalog with features all of our no risk items. They're very popular. We make sure we're using the most popular items. And you can add these easily to your auction to give it more excitement. But again, you don't pay for any of these items until somebody actually buys it. And there's a summary of Perfect Silent Auction and some of the features. So the next steps is, if you want to get started, go to Perfect Silent Auction. You can get started easily to get your event going. If you have questions, you can send it to support@Perfect Silent Auction. If you have any questions or need anything else, let me know. Be glad to send a copy of the presentation to you. Thanks again for listening. Really, have a great event. If you're having a golf event, have a great auction. And let's do both of them together and raise some money. Thanks very much for listening.